Hey guys, welcome back to Bixby's Beer Reviews. Lovely to have you here with me today. Very excited about today's beer. It comes to us from the folks at Parish Brewing Company down in Louisiana. It's Greetings from Holly Beach. And I know I always say I'm excited to talk about a beer, but I'm very excited to talk about this one because this is a beer that I found while I was on my own personal beach vacation, and it led me to a kind of epiphany about the type of beer that I want to have when I'm at the beach. Now, what's the best beer to have at the beach? Of course, the real answer is whatever cold beer you have in your hand is the best beer to have at the beach. But if you're picking styles, I'd like to offer a suggestion, or at least something that has really stuck with me since my last foray down to Florida. If you were following me on Instagram, you saw we were looking at a lot of beers down there. And that's that, to me, a low ABV fruited wheat beer is the best beer to have at the beach. Now, that is a style that I personally do not consume very often, if ever, when I'm going about my normal course of business where I live. You know, we love the hazy IPAs. We love dark beers when it gets to be winter and we need something a little heavier. But when the sun's out, when it's hot, when you're just relaxing, when you're maybe doing a little bit more day drinking than normal, that low ABV fruited wheat beer is, to me, the way to go. Now, that could be a traditionally fermented, just classic American wheat ale, or it could be what we have today, which is a fruited Berliner Weisse. What's Berliner Weisse? I'm going to cut through a lot of the history here. Apologies to any German viewers, but it's basically a lot like Gose, if you remember when we did that. It is a wheat beer. It's soured. It's primarily lactobacillus soured. It doesn't usually have a lot of other stuff going on, although occasionally some Brettanomyces. So it's a lighter sour, a little more of an acidic sour, but not that deep, heavy, kind of tongue-stripping sour that you get with some other sour beers. This particular one is indeed fruited. It has some wonderfully tropical fruit in here. We have pineapple, mango, passion fruit, and coconut. So let's crack this one open and go on vacation. So like I said, that low ABV is, I think, so important when you're in the heat of the day. Traditional Berliner Weisse is actually one of the lowest ABV styles I know of. It's usually in the 3% range. This particular example from Paris is around 5%, but it's a lot lower ABV than you see with a lot of American sour ales. So very good thing to have. So let's take a look here. And we've discussed this before. You'll often see sour beers, even ones that have fruit in them that might have some other color, will still usually be this kind of lighter pale. Here with the base Berliner Weisse style, this is mostly wheat malt, some Pilsner malt too. Very light. Hazy, not filtered. Again, you're not usually going to see that when you see adjuncted sours. We're getting a nice little bit of a fluffy head here. A nice thing to have if you can get it with these lighter fruit ales is if you can get some nice carbonation. It improves the perception of lightness, makes it a little bit more refreshing when you're about to go for a walk on the beach or go play in the sand. So beautiful looking beer. Let's give it a smell. A very tropical, fruit-forward beer indeed. The pineapple is right up front in the nose here, and the acidic notes of the pineapple are very well balanced by some very sweet mango aromas. I would say I also get a little bit of a deep passion fruit in there too. It's a nice sort of three-part harmony here where you have acid, sweetness, and a sort of funky base underneath it. Not unlike some of the hop combos that we really enjoyed in some of our hazy IPAs. So it's a beautiful smelling beer. I wouldn't say the coconut necessarily comes through as much, but those are powerful fruits. You might not expect it to. So let's go ahead and give it a taste. So in contrast to some of the weirder sours we've been looking at recently, this is very much a beer with some fruit characteristics, which, as I always say, I gotta taste the beer in there. I would say that the sweetness of the pineapple is really playing up in the flavor here relative to the acidity of the aroma, and I think that that's coming from the wonderful coconut flavor that's really come through here. It didn't show up much of the nose. It's really here in the flavor. The smoothness of the coconut and the smoothness of the passion fruit are doing a lot of work here to give a sort of underlying sweetness that allows the other sweet flavors to play up really well. I would say that it also has a bit more body than I was really expecting. From some of the traditional Berliner Weisses I've had, they're usually very dry, very sessionable, and very light. This one has a little bit more heft to it. Not much, but a little. So overall, just a beautiful, I would almost say it has a cocktailish appeal overall of something like a tropical drink or a tiki drink, but it's so wonderfully light and so refreshing that it doesn't hit with the booziness that a cocktail does. And to me, that's the real selling point here of again, what I think of as the most perfect type of beach beer is it's light. It has some protein from the wheat, so it has a little bit of body to it, but not too much. And it carries these beautiful tropical fruit flavors through so well, but ultimately doesn't leave you feeling weighed down. Doesn't interfere with your leisure activities out on the sand when you get to them. So in the meantime, thank you so much for joining me here once again on the BBR. As always, like, share, and subscribe, and I'm going to continue to try to bring you whatever beer reviews you want if you want to drop them down in the comments. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.